Welcome to the ZTV Sports Report.
On this episode, we have highlights of volleyball and the women's and men's soccer team as they head towards the end of their seasons.
Plus, we take a look at the preview for the men's and women's basketball season. And finally, a take from Don. That's right, you guessed it, Don Take Part 2.
So sit back, relax, and unwind because the ZTV Sports Report starts right now. Welcome to the ZTV Sports Report. I'm Cameron Justice.
And I'm Daniel Cermak.
The basketball season is already almost here, and our men's and women's teams held their preseason press conferences.
Let's hear what Coach Stanbrot and Coach Kest had to say, as well as the Zips players. Check it out.
With October ending and November now upon us, basketball season is just around the corner. The men's and women's basketball team had Media Day at the Student Union, so with Media Day, I felt that it was only proper to take a look at this year's men's and women's basketball teams. First, the women's team. Coach Kest and the Zips are coming off another 19-win season, but they are going to face some challenges this year, losing key stars such as Anita Brown and DeAndre Gibson. However, despite these losses, Coach Kest is still optimistic about this team.
And so we've had great days, and then we've had a couple bad days, and then we have a couple good days, a couple bad days. So it's going to take a while, but I think everybody's going to be pretty excited about where we're going to be at the end of the year when it really matters once we get into MAC play, and then again, ultimate goal is to win a championship.
The Zips will see a familiar face this season on the floor, Hannah Plyben, being the second leading scorer last season. Now a senior, looking to be a strong leader for this team. And for Coach Kest, well, she still has one goal in mind.
And so even though we're very young and very inexperienced, we want our players to understand that, being 500 in this program is unacceptable. Our goal is to win the East. Our goal is to win championships.
Now to the men's team. The men's team had another 20-win season last year, winning the regular season MAC title, but losing a heartbreaker to Buffalo in the MAC championship game, and then losing in overtime to the Ohio State Buckeyes in the NIT tournament. The Zips did lose key players in Reggie McAdams, Forsyth, and Jake Kretzer, but Coach Stanbrot is excited with his starting five.
I'm so proud of the guys that are up here and really our whole team. Both Quan and Isaiah Johnson graduated in 3 years. They're in graduate school now. And then Noah, battled through that injury and came back and is poised to have a great year. And then Antonio Jackson, his development and his growth, and kind of like the lightning rod that we need. He's come a long way, both as a player and as a person. And then you have Josh Williams, who may be one of the absolute best shooters in America.
Coach Stanbrot later talked about his 13 years as head coach for the University of Akron, the future for this program, and the legacy he wants to leave beyond coaching.
And so one of my goals before I retire is to renovate that arena so that we can take the next jump. So I'm not too worried about it for me, although it would be nice. But for the next coach here, I'm going to make sure that they have a new arena.
So with the Media Day behind us, it's finally time to lace up and hit the hardwood. Don't worry, Zip fans. Basketball season is almost here.
I have a feeling this is going to be a great year for both teams.
Me too, but that's really become the standard for the basketball programs here.
We'll see if they can handle the high expectations and a couple of big departures.
Now we'll make a departure of our own as we head to commercial, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the ZTV Sports Report.
The volleyball team took the floor to wrap up their final home games of the season.
We have the highlights of their games from Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Kent State, and Ohio. Let's take a look.
The volleyball team was back in action against Central Michigan in Game 1 of a 4-game homestand. And well, Zips trying to break a 9-game losing streak, get their first win in the MAC, but they really had to earn this one. And in the first set, the Zips were in a tight one, CMU not going away, eventually would take the set though, 26-24. And then, again in the second set, Central Michigan making it difficult on the Zips, but freshman Ella Karsner with the kill. Ella Karsner led the way for the Zips, registering 13 kills, and sophomores Patience Brown and Maddie Bayer contributed 11 kills. And Akron goes on to win this one in 5 sets. They break a 9-game losing streak and get their first win in MAC play.
The University of Akron's volleyball team faced Eastern Michigan on October 21st at the Jaw. Akron's Patience Brown hits the ball that Eastern Michigan's Alyssa LaFace could not defend. The Zips started off hot in the opening set as Patience Brown spikes the ball that was too much for the Eagles to handle. The Eagles responded quickly though as Jordan Smith taps the ball past the Zips defense for the kill. Eastern Michigan gets another kill from Devin Murray as she delivers a hard spike past Akron's Abby Pollock. Abby Pollock gets redemption though as she defends a hard spike, and amazingly the ball goes past the Eagle defenders for the kill. The Eagles' Riley Taylor spikes the ball right in the middle of 5 Akron players and she gets the kill. The first set was a tight back and forth game that had plenty of excitement from both teams. However, the Zips go on to lose a hard-fought first set, 25-22. The Eagles came out hot early in the second set as Jordan Smith spikes the ball that Carly Cousin could not defend. Patience Brown gets another kill as she spikes the ball past Riley Taylor's arms. The Zips took an early lead in the second set thanks to good teamwork and multiple kills. Eastern Michigan responded by going on an 8-4 run to take control of the second set. Eastern Michigan would go on to win the second set 25-19 to take a commanding 2-0 lead over the Zips. The Eagles jumped on the Zips early in the third set, taking an 11-6 lead, and it looked like they were going to run away with a blowout and sweep Akron easily. With their backs against the wall, the Zips fought back and got back into the set to make it competitive. Eastern Michigan continued to stay one step ahead of Akron as Rachel Eby delivers a kill. Patience Brown was the star of the night for the Zips as she led the team in kills with 12 and in blocks with 2. Eastern Michigan's Kelly Ferguson scored the game-winning point for the Eagles as they sweep the Zips 3-0, and Akron falls to 5-16 overall and 0-9 in the MAC.
The volleyball team took on bitter rival Kent State. They don't play for a wagon wheel, but there's still a lot of pride on the line out there. Early on, Akron was looking pretty good in the first set, but after a net violation, Kent State would go up 1-0. Later in the second, Akron looking to tie things up, and a big hit, off the face. Can't tell me that volleyball players aren't tough, folks. Then later on in the set, it took them a couple set points, but eventually Akron would get the job done as here, access denied. A block at the net, Akron ties it up 1-1. After a long third set back and forth, Kent State would pull that one out. And then 2 errant serves would close the game for the Zips in the 4th set and then the deciding 5th set. They don't win much, folks, but that was a quality win against a rival.
Good to finally see the volleyball team put an end to their losing streak.
Definitely has been a tough season for the team, but it is good to see them get a solid win in the MAC, and I'm looking forward to see how they finish the last games on the road.
I couldn't agree more. But with that being said, it's time once again for a commercial break. Stick around. The ZTV Sports Report will be right back.
Welcome back to the ZTV Sports Report. The women's and men's soccer teams are back on the field against MAC opponents this week.
The women's team took on Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan, and the men's team took on West Virginia. Check out the highlights. The women's soccer team took on the Central Michigan Chippewas at First Energy Stadium, Cub Cadet Field. The game opened up quick with several shots on the goal from both teams, including number 3 on CMU, Alexis Palafis, who had a wide shot early in the first half. Another missed shot came as a header from Samantha Mayer, which went just left of the goal. Akron's number 27, Erica Schroeder, had a close shot into the keeper, who popped it up and saved it. Number 24, Katie Corrigan, also had a close shot off a corner kick that went wide of the goal. Those off-the-mark shots were quickly dismissed with a free kick from CMU's number 21, Samantha Mayer, which made it past diving keeper Samara Yurchak into the bottom left corner of the net. Mayer increased the lead off a turnover goal to the right of the net, making the score 2-0 at the half. CMU looked confident as they headed to the sidelines at the end of the first, and that confidence held the Zips off for most of the second. At the second half, the Zips were down 2-0, and a recovery didn't seem promising. It wasn't until the final 5 minutes where freshman number 8 Ashley Amato launched a long shot from the right of the field, hitting the crossbar and falling in past CMU's keeper. With new life, Akron looked to tie the game, and they did just that after a corner kick to sophomore Kiana Zook, who knocked it into the left side net. At a draw, the Zips and Chippewas went into overtime, with no score from either side in the first overtime period. Going into the second overtime period, still at a draw, freshman Julia Crow nailed a 30-yard shot into the left side of the goal for the game-winning point, putting the Zips up 3-2 and clinching the victory against one of the top teams in the MAC.
The Akron Zips face off against the Eastern Michigan Eagles in their second-to-last home game of the season. Before the game started, there were some pre-game festivities. First, both teams got together to honor their loved ones who were affected by breast cancer. Then it was time to thank the seniors for all they have done here at the University of Akron. The Zips defense was staying tall early on with Annabelle Hageman stopping a shot on the goal, then stopping another shot that came right back at her. Madison Kaiser with a nice move on the would-be Eastern Michigan defender. Eastern Michigan was on attack during the whole first half, but the Zips defense remained strong, not allowing a single goal. But the Eagles will find a flaw in the Zips defense when Ellie Tiller sneaks in the goal in the 9th minute of the game. Then here comes Katie Corrigan with the shot of her own, but it gets deflected by the goalie. But the Zips will get another chance when Shay O'Brien fires a beautiful shot that gets deflected by the Eastern Michigan goalie. At the half, the score is the Eagles 1, the Zips 0. The Eagles come out attacking once again in the second half, but Annabelle Hageman stops 2 more back-to-back shots from the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Later in the half, Hageman will stop a goal that almost came from a corner kick. With time winding down, the Zips try everything they have to score a goal, but they could not find a way to get one in. The final score of the game was the Eastern Michigan Eagles 1, the Akron Zips 0.
So the Akron men's soccer team took on West Virginia, and really, Akron's going to coast, right? Wrong. 39 seconds into the game, West Virginia scored. We hadn't even set up our camera yet, so that just set the tone for the night. But really, at first, Akron created a lot of chances. It seemed like they might have been able to survive this. Sam Gainford with a nice shot there that goes across the goal frame, but no one's able to capitalize and punch it in. Then header forces a save. Then Jonathan Lewis, nice ball from Adam Najam, gets the goalie out of position, but Lewis and Akron are not able to capitalize, and it's out for a corner, nothing doing. Then Najam looking far post, headed out by West Virginia, but Akron's looking like they're going to create some chances. But real summary of the night is that Akron, whenever they had any chance to do anything, they didn't have a lot of help from their players. They didn't have a lot of options to go to. There, Sam Gainford just swarmed by 3 defenders, and he didn't have anywhere to go. Here, another chance for Akron. Header deflects off another Akron player, and then it's punched out by West Virginia. Then here, Adam Najam off to Lewis. Najam gets it back, but 1, 2, 3. Adam Najam was a great player, but I'll take the 3 defenders any day in that situation. So that's just a tough break. But here, Akron off a counterattack, and it looks like they might have something going. Gonzalez Soares out to Marcel Zacek, but he has nowhere to go with the ball. That's like Katie Ledecky during the Olympics. No one else is in frame. But the possession is still going for Akron. They're trying to get something going. Here off to Nick Hines. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Back to Bolana. All the way back to Brad Ruhak. To Soares, and he slips up, and that sums up the night pretty well. Second half now. West Virginia on the counterattack, and I'm no expert, but you might want to consider marking him. And Akron learned that the hard way as Jad Arlen makes it 2-0 for the Mountaineers. Shocking to be up 1-0, really, but West Virginia makes it 2. Here, Adam Najim trying to get things going, get another goal, but he turns it over. Then Arlen again gets the ball in the box, looking dangerous again, but nothing doing this time. Akron's able to get it out for a goal kick. Then here, West Virginia forces another turnover. Out to Arlen again. He heads it down, goes between Nick Hines and Danilo Rajan, flicks it over Ben Lute, deflects off of him, and slow motion rolls into the net to make it 3-0 West Virginia. Then here, Sky Harder coming into the game. And Brad Ruhak got one back, but definitely wasn't going to be enough. West Virginia would end up winning this one. Final score 3-1, and Jared Embick was not happy with his team's performance after the match. But the Zips did kind of make up for it with a 2-0 win against Ohio State later on in the week, with freshmen Jonathan Lewis and Nick Hines getting both goals.
A tough loss for the men's team, but a nice response at Ohio State as they beat the Buckeyes 2-0. But how about the women's soccer team's huge overtime win against Central Michigan?
It was an unbelievable victory. I was on color commentary at the time and absolutely pulled a Gus Johnson when they got the victory. I freaked out.
And just like their OT victory, we're about to get into overtime of this week's show as we head to a commercial.
But when we come back, I'll be sitting down with our resident hot take expert, Don Wagner. Stick around. All right, hello, everyone. Daniel Cermak here with Don Wagner.
Don.
We're here for Don Take. Don's already trying to take it over here, but I am the moderator to this one-man debate. Don says enough stuff that I can definitely debate him here. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna preview the basketball season. It's both the men's and the women's because they just had their press conferences to open up the year. So Don, what are your expectations starting off with the men's team?
Well, for the men's team, I think expectations every year is to win the MAC. Now, with that, I don't think they're going to get it done. They lost Jay Kretzer and Reggie McAdams, and they hit the big shots down the stretch. And we're going to see if Antonio Jackson can step up and Josh Williams. Big Dog's coming back. He's going to dominate the MAC still. But once you get in the tournament, it's hard to beat the MAC teams. The MAC team are really well matched. So I want them to win, and the expectations are to win and get to the tournament. But in my opinion, I think we've seen banked half-court shots beat Akron teams in the MAC tournament. So I don't see them pulling it out.
Well, Akron is, Akron is the number one team in the MAC in the preseason. Again, they were last year, of course, but
it seems like that almost every year. They were ranked one year and they didn't win. Oh no, they did win the MAC.
They won it that year. Give them a little bit of respect.
They did. That was last time.
And you dropped a little bit of disrespect to Noah Botham there, who in that Eastern Michigan comeback, they were down by 2. Noah Botham hits the 3 to give Akron the lead, which they would not give up to that point. So I feel like a little bit of disrespect to Noah Botham there. He's coming off his second year
at
from ACL.
the same time, we're talking Eastern Michigan here. And Eastern Michigan had no. That's my point.
You were talking up Eastern Michigan earlier.
That's because Eastern Michigan played as well. Now, like I said, each MAC team, it's good. They're good. It's a good conference. But that's what I'm saying is like if we didn't even think Eastern Michigan should have been on the same level as Akron, and they gave them a game and should have beat the Zips last year. So that's what I'm saying. Like who knows? Maybe Bowling Green comes out of nowhere and they upset the Zips in the first round. So you don't know, and that's pretty much my point here.
Well, I think what's going to be big here is that OU's looking dangerous this year, but Buffalo lost a lot of players. They lost Justin Moss. Justin Moss was suspended last year, and they lost Bearden, who's a big player for them. But at the same time, Central Michigan lost Fowler, who is Dexter Fowler's cousin. Fun fact from the Cubs.
I know who Dexter Fowler is.
You know who Dexter Fowler is, yeah. But his cousin played for Central Michigan and was a beast. So they dropped him.
And who's
they
to
lost
say
him.
Who's going to break out in the MAC this year? It happens every year. Well, no, Akron's expected to win, but that's what I'm saying is you don't know until the games start playing who's going to break out, who's going to be a superstar for a number of these teams. Western Michigan, Central Michigan, you don't know until like this season. OU's always tough, so
we'll have to see.
We will have to see.
All right, so now the women's team lost 3 big seniors in Nita Brown, DeAndre Gibson, and Megan Barilla. but they have Hannah Plyben coming back. Hannah Plyben can absolutely drain some threes. They have some nice freshmen. So what are you expecting from the women's team this year?
I'm not expecting too much. My expectations are pretty low, and that's mainly because they lost such an amazing. Anita Brown was the best player in the MAC, in my opinion, and you can't replace her. Hannah's great, and she's gonna score points, but losing your leader of your team like that's just hard to replace. And then DeAndre Gibson, you lose DeAndre Gibson and her heir apparent, Lily Piper, who broke out in the MAC tournament, and it looks like she's going to take over and help rebuild this team, and she transfers. So it's not looking too good for the women's team. But once again, it's the MAC, it's competitive, so even on the women's side, they're almost just as competitive as the men. So, and then some of the younger players, they could always step up. So, I mean, my expectations are low. So if they go and they exceed expectations, do well in the tournament, then that's, it's a fun season to watch.
I think Jody Kess can really, she might be coming close to being put on not the same level of Keith Thanerbott, of course, but a similar level to where she can bring her team to championships, make her team outperform maybe the sum of, and be better than the sum of their parts, and win some games in the MAC tournament. And,
definitely,
but
definitely. I think with the Toledo game last year, definitely I thought Toledo was the better team, but Toledo had actually beaten us at home, and tournament time came, and Coach Kess had her players ready.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I want to watch though is that I think they're going to miss Megan Brilla bringing that ball up the court. It means someone selfish should be willing to pass to people, set other people up for a shot. So I want to see how the point guard position shakes out. But we're going to move on to the last question here. And in the preseason press conference, the media day, Keith Thanerbott brought up something interesting that really had a lot of traction a couple years ago, died off a little bit, but now might get back into the picture. And that is a new basketball arena for the men's and women's teams. So Keith Thanerbott said he thinks his legacy could be bringing a basketball arena here. What do you think of that? Do you think that would really secure his legacy, or does he not need to do that?
Please, Keith, get it done. Honestly, the way the men's team play and the way they've dominated the MAC the past 10 years, they deserve it. We have a nice football stadium, and the soccer team gets a lot of love. But you want to talk about consistency, and Akron's men's basketball team, they're very consistent, and honestly, they deserve it. Whether or not we'll see one in the foreseeable future, or whether or not it's Coach Danbrott's legacy, I think the wins on the court are his legacy. But it's definitely exciting to hear talks of it, and it's definitely something I hope gets done. So.
Well, yeah. What's interesting is that there's all this talk in the new stadium, new arena, but they keep upgrading the jar. They painted the jar last year. They put in a new sound system, and this year there's new LED boards, new LED graphics. They fixed the scoreboard, so it feels they got a new court, of course. So that'll be interesting to see. If we see all these improvements to the jar, how much can we really start doubting the new arena?
Eventually, true, but eventually you got to pull the trigger on the new car. If you fix the brakes, you fix the muffler. Eventually, the car's just not reliable anymore. Let's put one downtown.
There's also a question of a lot of history in the jar.
We can make new history, better history.
It's true. It's fair. It's not I don't think it's quite as bad as the Rubber Bowl was, but
no.
Hopefully it never gets to that level, but we'll see. So that's all we have for Don Take. Pretty decently tame Don Take, other than disrespecting Noah Botham. Pretty good. That is gonna wrap up.
I don't think it was disrespectful, but that's...
You left him out, man. You can't do that. All right, so wrong. All right, we are gonna move on here. This wraps up the ZTV Sports Report for the week, but be sure to tune in next week.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.